this video is about the powering up of the HAAS machines. We're going to use a HAAS mill, but essentially all of the HAAS machines power up exactly the same way. We discussed this in class, so if you're working in a place that has HAAS equipment, this is exactly what you need to know to get the thing powered up. Now when I say powered up, I mean get it to a point where you can actually start manipulating the machine, moving it around, loading tools and setting origins and these types of things. So this is the first step in my outline, in my 6-step outline as far as operating CNC machines. Okay, now all of the HAAS controls panels are the same. The software that HAAS provides has been upgraded down through the years, so that what you see on the screen actually may be a little bit different as you go from machine to machine. But the steps that we go through will work virtually on every HAAS machine. So we talked about this in class already. So in order to start the HAAS machine up, look on the control. The big green button is the power up button. When I press that button, there will be some things that happen. You'll hear some noise. You will also see the computer start to boot up. And we'll just wait just a minute for that to happen. As the computer boots up, all of the controls are going to show that there's an alarm on the machine. Now this is really a good thing to check. Most of the time the alarm says servos off, which means that the machine has not been fully energized or fully powered up yet. But there may be other alarms that are there. There could be alarms as far as lubrication or service that's needed or low air pressure. There could be a number of those alarms, so it's a good idea to check those. Some things you may be able to take care of yourself, other things you may need to talk to your supervisor about and find out how to resolve these issues. To eliminate the alarms though, we press the reset button on the keypad, and in this case there's no more alarms. So that tells me this machine is ready to go to the next step. Now we talked about in class something that's really important. If you're a CNC operator, or if you're the supervisor of people who operate CNC machines, you want to operate these machines with all of the safety guards fully in place. There are a lot of legal issues that are out there. There are a lot of safety issues that are involved, and all machine tool builders put a number of guards and things in place to protect the operators. However, as we talked about in class, if you are a setup person, which is what we're really training you to do here, if you're the setup person, you really need to have access to the inside components of the machine. For example, this machine has got a safety built on the doors of the machine. There's a switch up here, and certain functions will not operate unless that door is closed. As the setup person, I need to be able to get in here and actually perform some of those functions. So I'm going to show you the process to disable this safety feature. Again, this is something you may not want to do. If you're an operator, you may want to keep the safety guards in place. If you're a supervisor, you may not want to show your people how to do this. But if you're the setup person, you want to disable the safety guard, and the HAAS has given us a way to do that. On the screen, we've already talked about this keypad. Down the right side here, we have our different modes of operation, and each of these keys support the different modes of operation. We've been talking about the edit mode. In edit, we're able to insert, alter, and delete, and other things. In the memory mode, this is where we actually run the program. We used this in our last class. We can do single block, and we have several options there. The Mdi mode is one we'll be using in our next lesson. We'll be talking about using the Mdi. Hand jog activates our controls so we can move our table around. And down at the bottom, we've got one that we can list the programs that are in this control, select the program that we want to run. This middle section on the display, on this keypad right here, is for displays. It allows us to see different things on the screen. If I'm setting tool offsets, I can press the offset button and I can actually see what I'm doing on the screen. One of the display buttons says settings and graph. We used this in our programming class. When we went to memory to test our programs, we pressed settings and then graph, and it brought up a screen where we could actually simulate movements of the machine. At that time, the machine would not physically move, but we could see the simulation of the program on the screen. If we press the settings and graph button only one time, we'll be taken to a settings screen. In that screen, we'll be able to disable the safety on the doors. Now, this is something that will have to be done each time the machine is powered up if you want to do it. So since I've got the alarms cleared, I'm going to press the settings button, and this particular control has a set of tabs here. I need to open this first general tab. I do that by pressing the enter key. Now, I might stop right here. Any of these machines that have this tab setting in there, if I need to move over to one of these other tab options, I would move back up by pressing cancel, and that would allow me to move over to different things that are in that tab system. Select the one that I want, I would press enter, and it would open that. When I press that and open up that tab, I'm setting at a screen that is for settings. Now, there are hundreds of settings in here. These settings allow the user to configure the machine the way he would like it configured. We can kind of customize it, if is a really good word there. The setting that I want to change is number 51. We talked about this in class. So while I'm in this screen, I'm going to come over to the number pad, type in 51. That appears at the bottom of the screen. Now, using the arrow keys, if I press the down arrow, the control will search and find setting number 51. Setting number 51 is a door hold override. Keep in mind, we want to take the safety off. The override is off right now. So what I want to do is turn on the ability to override that switch. So I want to change this setting. To make a change, I would press the right arrow key. This changes from off to on. The door safety override is now engaged, which means the safety on the door will not function. I'm going to press enter to actually set that. I get a message. Most of the newer HAAS controls give us a message that says you've selected a less safe operating mode. There's an increased risk to the operator while machining or changing tools with the doors open. Are you sure you want to continue? This is there, I'm sure, for legal purposes. If you press yes, you're accepting a less safe operating condition. We're going to do this in our class because I'm teaching you to set up the machine. So we're going to answer just a Y right there to confirm, and that has changed that. Now I can do all of the functions I need to and have the doors open. Please remember that the machine is not as safe as before, and you're going to have to use extreme caution around it. One other thing, once I have the machine, the setting changed, I have the safety disengaged. One last step as far as powering up the machine. The button over here on the side next to the reset is called Powerup Restart. When I press the Powerup Reset button, a couple of things will happen. Number one is all machine axes will move to machine home. A second thing that will happen is the tool changer, if it is not already at tool number 1, the tool changer will index to tool number 1. That's the startup process right here. So when I press Powerup Restart, and I'll move out of the way, notice all axes are moving to home position. And in this case, the tool changer was already at tool position number 1. So now the machine is fully powered up and it's ready for me to do whatever I need to do. Now, we talked about in class, and I showed you this already, but a couple of things I'd like you to do is come over here to the mode buttons, select the hand jog button. This actually activates our controls here and lets us move the table around. We're going to have to be able to do this to set our origin and load our part and indicate a vice or any other things we need to do. Once I go into the hand jog mode, I have a number of little buttons here. There's one that's for 1/10 of 1 thousandths. one button for 1,000ths, one for 100,000ths, and one for 100,000ths. What that means is that each increment on this little jog handle will be equal to either 1/10 or 1,000ths or whichever buttons I press. I'm going to press the 10,000ths button, and I'm going to move the table around. Now that means for each little click on this handle, the table will move 10,000ths of an inch. This is pretty good for rapid positioning. So I'm going to turn the handle. Now the only way I can go with the HAAS machines is in a negative direction, so I'll press the X button right here. I'll turn the handle in a negative direction, and the tool moves in a negative direction. Please do not think that we're moving in a positive direction. Always remember that we're moving in reference to the tool. The tool is moving negative. If I press the Y button right here, the tool will move in a negative Y direction, which should bring the tool towards me. And that's what happens. If I press the Z button, select the Z axis, if I move in a negative direction, the tool will come down towards the part. So from machine home, the only direction that I can go in all three axes is in a negative direction. So I would be able now to move the table around if I had an edge finder in there, or if I needed to position or indicate a bias. I now have the ability to do that by using the hand jog control. Now I know the last part of our discussion is going to be about powering the machines down, but when that time comes, there's not much we want to do. We're going to press Powerup Restart and send the machine back to home, and then just kill the power. And so I want to stop this video, and then I'm going to do one more video that has to do with loading tools, which is our next step.